DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
Good evening and welcome to a Wednesday night. It is time for music and mixing with DJ Michael Joseph.
Hey, hey.
I was going to say MJ, and then I was going to say DJ MJ, and then I was thinking about pretty dolphins flying and swimming across the ocean.
Squirrel.
Yeah, precisely. Actually, I'm still looking for that piece of gum.
Yeah, John, we almost missed the top of the hour thing because John dropped gum on the floor and he was looking for it and realized it was after the hour mark. So, hey, it goes that way sometimes.
It wasn't gum that I was chewing. I was filling my little Mentos thing, and one of them got away.
Told him just wait a couple weeks and see where the ants are going towards. Then there's your gum.
Where the trail's leading. So tonight we are going and broadcasting out to both YouTube and Facebook, and CBS News is bouncing on my watch. That's not fun. I think we're on Facebook.
Do they have anything important to say that we should be reporting on?
Yeah, probably not. No, nothing exciting. So we will stick with our original topic of kind of taking questions tonight. MJ's got a few things that he has in the hopper we can talk about a little bit. And
not really, but...
No, you're supposed to be saying, yes, we've got lots and lots of things.
We've got so much stuff that it's going to fill 12 hours, and I'm glad you're here for all 12.
It will be great.
So we are taking questions tonight. I don't know if I'm going to do the open question night every month. I thought I'd give it a try and see. I've got a lot of topics to do. I was talking to Shaney today about coming on at some point in the future and talking about both record box software and CDJs. DJ Cadillac, we're going to have on to talk about Serato using turntables and the Serato box and how all that works. So all of those things. I was even telling John that I have a show that I'm going to do coming up on Virtual DJ where we talk about nothing but right click, what you can do with right click in virtual. So we've got a lot. So I don't know if the open question night will fit every month, but we're going to try it and see if you guys like it and see what we come up with. All right, so first question up tonight.
Before we get to questions, we'll let a couple of them come in there. I see Dave's got one and such. Had an interesting conversation, and I wanted to chat or share this with you a little bit. Okay. We ended up down the road about a half mile from our office house here is a gentleman who's retired, 70-some years old. He started in 1961 with one of the companies that distributed records to discount record shops around first Minneapolis area. They expanded with a Chicago office, New York office, Atlanta office, Dallas office. By the time they got into like the mid 70s, they had, I believe he said, 40 some offices around the United States. Basically, they would be buying and wholesaling record albums for 60 cents a piece. So all these albums, like what you see back here, this is the kind of stuff they were selling to discount record spots. 60 cents a piece, and then they were being sold anywhere from whatever $4, $5, $10, whatever they were selling them at. So this guy started in this, and he had his little route, and he would drive from shop to shop in the region and dropping off, picking up whatever if there was damage, what have you, and dropping off the newest music. And if there's something that didn't sell, he'd take it. Mm-hmm. He made so much money at this and moved down to Dallas and ran it. He got his family members involved with this and such, and now, as a retired person, off vinyl. He made so much that he and his wife have a beautiful home and a very comfortable retirement and are doing well. Their kids in there and such, they were able to take care of them, put them through college. And the moral of the story is that vinyl can take care of you if you take care of vinyl.
Can I flip the script on that?
Go ahead.
A email was leaked from Apple. Mm-hmm. Somebody got a hold of it that this year they will no longer accept submissions for albums. So there will on iTunes later this year, there will be no such thing as an album. It'll be all singles. If Rihanna puts out 10 songs, they're going to be 10 songs, not the album by Rihanna.
You're not going to be able to buy 15 songs for $10. It's going to be 15 times $1.29.
Yep. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that was as I was talking to Jim about the industry and how, of course, it has changed over the years, and he said when it went to digital, this one, I don't remember if he was saying that 1 year that the company brought in $400 or $500 million in sales in 1 year at its heyday during in the 70s when they were selling vinyl. He said it was just incredible, and how he goes, we never released anyone because we needed help. We were constantly help. And he said it's just like overnight was gone, just like that. It was. He said we hit the 90s and it was like our money machine was turned off. And he retired right about that time.
Right.
So it's interesting how the industry and these things can change so quickly, and something like what Apple's wanting to do could change the whole concept of how do you drop an album? Do you drop an album anymore, or
it didn't surprise me when I heard that, or what? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wondering if it's going to be just a progression of kind of like we do our YouTube videos. You're doing a YouTube video on a regular basis. Is it going to be that Rihanna is going to be dropping a new song every month?
I actually saw this coming a long time ago, and I even posted about it today. That you look back, I want to say the early 2000s, they were making a joke. It was Timberland who did songs with Justin Timberlake and a bunch of guys, like they did remixes, and they talked the same way with Pharrell, that Pharrell could put together a greatest hits all platinum album of songs that were singles released off somebody else's album, and how that every time you turned on a song, Timberland was in that song or Timberland worked on that song. So it's the same way that these artists are going to continue to put stuff out, and yet again, they don't put out an album at all themselves. So I kind of saw that going that way, especially with some of the young music makers out there, and where you just work on a song and you put it out there and keep promoting that single song. And when that song becomes a hit, it sells, and you don't have to worry about making 9 other songs, because you don't want to go over for best income for an album. It used to be don't go over 10 songs, because then the time invested in the sale and everything, you kind of lose your investment to gain back on. 9 other songs to just support the one song. So now you can support the one song.
So you're saying my 15-year-old son who made the one song may be sitting in a really, really good spot.
He's in the curve. Absolutely, without a doubt. He's right in there. And I'm not joking. It's serious, because I have a lot of older friends. I say older friends, I mean like 10 or 15 years younger than me. That when we talk about albums, they hated the fact that nowadays you don't have albums to look at. And, I like the album art. I'd like to hold it in my hand. I'm older than them, but yet again, I'm the one who was so happy the first day I was able to start burning CDs, so I no longer had to have the whole album.
Oh, for sure.
I never wanted that. And the next generation took it even further, which I'm happy the fact that I don't have to buy an album to have a song. I don't want that. I want the song, because how many times in your past have you bought an album because of a song and the rest of the album doesn't sound anything like that single song? So I think it's okay. I think it's just natural progression of life. It's just the way it is. It's nothing you're going to do about it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to go to we ready for questions?
Yeah, let's go jump up to Dave there.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Dave had asking about what is
quantizing. Quantization. It depends on what you're doing with it. Mostly it's used in music production to kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? It gives the whole song, I don't even know how to describe it, a structure that can be moved evenly. Like if you quantize the beats, that means you're creating a beat structure for the entire song that then can either be moved as a whole, or individual beats can be moved in directions to make them match other things. So that's kind of the best way I can explain that. If he wants to go into more detail about what is he exactly asking with that when it comes to beats, he's talking about something done in Ableton.
So MJ, just if I'm following here, so it's basically the software's ability to go in and kind of map where the beats are in a song. So
it can be done with beats or notes, because you can quantize the notes and then shift the notes. So, and also MIDI them. So you can quantize, like if I go la, 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 I can take that, record it into Ableton, throw it in there, quantize it, throw it into as a MIDI thing. And then that la, la, la becomes a MIDI structure that then I can then throw it on a guitar. So it sounds like a guitar going, or pianos. So you run it through there to kind of create a rounding structure of it to do other things with, whether it be, like I said, if it's beats and you're moving the beats around, or if it's notes that you're shifting, key shifting or pitch shifting, or what is that called when they sing it? Transpose. Whether you're transposing, it kind of does that. That's my best explanation of it. You probably better just to go Google it, because you might get a more accurate answer to what you're looking for.
Well, I was just did that as we were talking, and it really doesn't give, of course, in the musical phraseology. It doesn't do very well.
If Dave, if you can type in, like, you're talking about in a specific software, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, he says a little bit later in Virtual DJ 8.
In what sense are you doing? I have 8 open here. So is it a right click you're doing it with, or
where he's getting it to show up? Yeah.
Because I'm not sure where that's even at on what you're doing that with. So hit me up with that. We'll come back to that, I promise. Yep. Go ahead, John. Hit me with some other questions.
Chris in the Facebook there, how many people request one song off an album? How many people, even younger people, even know what an album is?
It's a different... I was talking to a friend of mine today who is, again, I always talk about these people like they're older than me, but he's a good 10 years younger than me. And he got his first controller, okay? And we were talking about, and I want to screen share here so I'm able to explain things out a little bit better. So if you had back in the days 2 turntables, okay? So if these were 2 turntables in a mixer, then the power button for the turntable would be here in the corner, or, whichever way you have it turned, whatever. The pitch fader would either be over here to the right of the platter, and on this one, obviously, because they're records or CDJs, it'll be to the right of the platter, and everything was uniform like that. And now everybody, literally every brand except for Pioneer, shifts like the pitch faders out. They shift the play buttons in, sync buttons in, the loop buttons out, instead of it being an exact copy right to left. And the same way with the music, that we look at it is in our age, John, with the music, and how that we see an album differently than they saw it. The same way this next generation doesn't even look at the thing being in a different spot, and they don't care, because they didn't spend the last 30 years, 20 years, actually, reaching to the right of the platter for that pitch fader every time. So I think with the albums, you're going to take a different mentality too. So, and it's okay. I'm on board with that. I'm both as a person who I literally put out 12 albums in my lifetime. I would have rather put out 12 hit songs than 12 albums that didn't do anything. You're muted there, John, or I can't hear you or something.
Oh, I hit the button, my mistake. I was moving some things around. Sorry. But yeah, I definitely get that, because think about the for our job, if they would only take the songs that are going to hit, we wouldn't have all this dead.
Well, you can also push a song. If you put the money that you spend into promoting an album, both radio sales, advertising, everything, and put that into a single song, you'd have a bigger hit. So, like, let's say the record label you signed for, instead of having like $100,000 budget for your album, let's say they put $20,000 into a song and push that, you're going to have a better chance of making your money back. Because if they have 50-50, 360 contracts, 50-50 contract means that if that song, they pay for the song to be made and puts out, and the song costs $2 a song, only $1 of that goes to you to then divide amongst your manager, your booking, all of that, because you don't get the whole $2. The record label will get $1. You get $1 then to split up. So the 50-50 means that you don't start getting more of that until the entire 20, let's say they put 20,000 into it, until the entire 20,000 is made back on sales. So now let's say 100,000 for an album probably is not going to do so well, but you could probably get 20,000 from a song nowadays, ringtones and everything. So you have a better chance of actually not losing money or gaining money, however you want to look at that, for this model, I think. But the worst part about it is I think that the record industry is going to the record labels are going to switch the model that's built on just to make them more money.
Sure.
The contract would be written different, because I know that when they switched from CDs to MP3s, even though they're saying, well, when we put out CD, it costs us this much to make CD, so we have to take this much out of, the sales and all this and that. When they went to the MP3s, they obviously don't have the cost of making the CD and all shipping the CD and all that, but they still took the exact same amount out, whether it was a physical thing or just an MP3 thrown up on a website. So the record industry is pretty shady. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, and they've got to come up with a new business plan. As we've changed how people consume their information and music with the online world, and that'll be interesting to see how that'll come together.
And in the very near future, same with iTunes dropping the albums, they're not going to have downloads anymore. You will not be able to have an iTunes download. It'll be just streaming only. So, did I beat that thing down enough?
No, I think so. For those on Facebook or the chat right now, Reggie mentioned that he had found a CD today, speaking of CDs, which was Ultimix Disc 50. Now, MJ, did you ever get that one? It was an
Ultimix stuff. I don't know if I have that one, but I was one of those ones that I didn't get the Ultimix stuff. I had a friend who got them, and we all split it up and burned copies right and left.
Yeah, the Ultimix 50 was kind of an anniversary edition, and it had some best of mixes. There was a couple of good rock and roll mixes in there that I could use, whatever. But the Joan Jett Mega mix was on that particular one, where it went through some. I think Billy Squier was in there. Hurt So Good was on that. Joan Jett, of course, was with. It was just a really good mix. It was probably one of the best mixes for our area that I had gotten up into that point in time.
I have an 80s mega mix.
Yeah, it was a variation of it. It starts off with the guy, who are you? What do you want to do when you grow up? Oh, I want to rock.
Right. I may have that in there somewhere, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that particular track, when it came out, and it was one of the first times we were able to introduce a remix type of a song to the events we were doing here. But
just to make people feel old, that today is the 30th anniversary of Beastie Boys' License to Ill album. 30 years.
30 years since that.
Welcome to old. And I own the tape. I still think it's in a box upstairs, and I even own the T-shirt. What other questions we got, John? People are typing like crazy.
They're typing, but yeah, we haven't had a lot of questions. They were talking about Serato and virtual DJ.
I saw 2 or 3 questions in there. Let me scroll back up and see if I can catch. Guys, I'm going to do my best.
Yeah, I didn't.
Serato DJ Pro, is it ready for prime time? I believe it is, because like I said, depending on what you're running, hooking it up to, I've tried it and ran it all afternoon here in the studio multiple times. The guest we had on last week, DJ Superfly, has been literally running it out in public since October. I've had it since December 5th. So I think it is. I mean, I think there's always bugs. They did an update already. There's already a 2.01, which gives it the new, which we're going to talk about here in a minute, the new controller, which somebody asked. That was one of the questions by Pioneer. It had updates for that. It had updates for the, what is it? It's for the loop. It's either loop or BPM button or something that's now visible all the time. I remember reading it. I can't remember what it is. So I think it's there. I really do. It's like anything else. It takes time. I use Virtual 8 all the time, and I literally didn't touch Virtual 8 for the first 2 years it came out until I felt all the bugs were gone.
Yeah.
I kept trying it every 6 months and going, nope, not ready. Nope, not ready. So you kind of have to fit that to yourself there. Let me scroll down here. I have Serato Pro and have no problem with it. Okay, there. Howie's, yeah.
DJ Big Mac, when you get down that far.
Okay, I'm not sure what that is there. I'm trying to read through them. I'm trying to piece them all together here. Yeah. We did 2 last week. I had a green screen with Virtual DJ. I've never had a green screen. I'm not sure. Does he mean blue screen of death? Or I think I know what you mean, and that is a video glitch where the video signal drops out, and that could either be the HDMI going to the projector or whatever you're doing, TV or whatever on. It could be the USB going from the computer to the controller. It could be the file itself being corrupt. Curious if that does it on different songs, what file type that is for that song. You have to look at all kinds of stuff like that. I've never had it happen, but I know exactly when you say the green screen, I know that is a digital glitch in the video, whether that be in the actual file, the connection, the wire, the whatever. So talk about the controller came out. We're going to come back to that. Remind me that. I want to come back to that. I'm going to keep scrolling. The controller coming out. Whoops. What am I hearing that honking noise?
I was just they were talking about air horns, and it's like,
Oh,
I wonder.
You mean air horns?
Yeah, and that's built into virtual, right?
I don't know. That's one I put in there because I have a lot of my own cues in there. Like that's the kick, and
you are listening to Michael Joseph, MJ in the mix.
This one should be
MC DJ MJ.
And
Yeah, boy.
I was just looking at audio blocks, and they do not have an air horn.
You're going to look for reggae horn is actually what it originally was called. I've Googled.
Let's see if they have anything like that. Again, I'm looking at audio blocks. We have a subscription to audio blocks, so that's why I'm looking there.
Anyone know where authentic effects that aren't YouTube rips? For effects and stuff, simply if you belong to a sort of service like Club Killers or BPM Supreme, any kind of like download pools, they have type tools in DJ tools. That's what you're going to look for any of that kind of stuff. DJ tools. Thanks MJ for making me feel old. Reggie, I'm there with you.
Yeah, I'm not finding.
Will you change over to Serato DJ? No, I will not. I just like virtual does everything that I need it to. I never have to worry about adding packs to it. I can do video, I can do karaoke, I can do whatever. I don't have to worry about what type of file is in there. You can give me any type of file. I can play it with this. But the thing I like most about virtual is how customizable I can make it. I can do anything I want to. I can, as I'll share the screen on here. Okay, as many people know, I put my logo on there. So you see the logo turn. I'm not going to turn the music up, but the logo. So it can be anything you like. The stock looks like this. For those who don't know, I don't know why you would not know. The default looks like this. But you also, if you want it to look like something else, you can go in and make it look like Serato if you want. It can be anything. So that's why I like it, because I can do a lot with it there. It's for me, it's easy to MIDI map, all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So that's why I like it. Moving on.
Can Serato DJ Pro work with the Newmark? They must be the 7 V7s, is what I'm seeing.
The motorized single platters. It's like the NS7, but they're single platters.
Okay.
I think they can. I don't know. I know a friend that runs it with Serato, regular Serato. So I don't know if the Serato. I'm guessing the Serato Pro does, because like I said, my friend Dean runs them. He loves them, and he runs them with regular Serato. So I don't see why they wouldn't. You go to the Serato site and check and see their compatibility on them. That.
Yeah, Windows. Paul's mentioned Windows media files. They can be such a pain. And depending upon how you ripped videos, if you have some videos you ripped on a Mac from many years ago that were .mov, there are some algorithms that they use then that are not supported anymore. So some of my early videos that I ripped, they're useless. I ended up.
What was the file that QuickTimes? The new Serato does not run off QuickTimes.
Doesn't do the. So that would be the .mov compared to.
I don't know if it will not play it, but they don't. It isn't strictly. Before it was based around that. Video was based around that QuickTimes. Now it's not part of it.
Or would it be under the like music videos you purchase through iTunes, which are what M something or excuse me, AV4 maybe? What is Apple's?
That I don't know. I literally in a drawer in my desk from over a year ago, one of my clients at Christmas time gave me an iTunes gift card for $25. I'm never going to spend it. I'm trying to find somebody to regift it to because I don't. There's no purpose for it for me.
Okay, it's M4V is what Apple uses, I believe.
M4V. Yep.
And that's probably what's not supported.
A friend of mine could not play Windows Media from his Mac on Serato, but I could on my Mac. Yeah, Windows Media files are really picky. I'm seeing a lot of stuff that won't even touch media files anymore. It's really funny. It's becoming very Windows, and people are like, even if you download movies off of like torrent sites, they're coming as MKVs now.
Mm-hmm. Dulio asked on Facebook the last gig that we did, and if there's any kind of memories or anything that stood out in the last event that we did. You do bars
Yeah,
each and every weekend, so that's that. If it was anything like
Saturday night, it was odd because I DJ a lot of places that are calm, bars that are calm. I really do, and I pick and choose where I go to DJ. That's part of why I like my job, is because I can, if I don't want to work somewhere, I don't. But one of the companies that I do stuff for offered me this place Saturday night, and I'm like, yeah, I'll take it. You know, it's an easy little gig, and it's down on what's called Carson Street here in the city. And the best way I can describe Carson Street to you is that every single Friday and Saturday night, it's Mardi Gras for 3 miles in every direction. It is just beyond madness. Okay. Go to all these other places I DJ for 2-3 years, no drama, no fights, nothing. Go there Saturday night, there's a fight. They drag some guy out from the other room, kicking and screaming like he's a little baby. These bouncers were like twice the size of me, and they're dragging this guy out. He's just screaming and yelling and kicking and screaming, and they're just manhandling him out the door, put him out on the street, and he stood there in front of the door screaming at him for like 20 minutes, and they just started looking at each other, and they said, well, let's go back inside. They left him out there.
Jeez.
He wouldn't shut up. So that was my Saturday night.
Yeah, that was, man, that is. And I've had really kind of a quiet time as we're getting ready for Mobile Beat. So the last event that I did that was anything worth talking about would have probably been the that dance competition that we did here a few weeks back, where we got to play for the state's dance competition in Minnesota, and that was kind of a cool experience to go and do sound for that event.
We are going to soon, as soon as I get through all the questions. I think I can handle it now. If I miss some of these, please repeat them, because I'm trying to scroll and see all the ones. The next one, somebody asked, between buying this MC7000 and the DDJ1000, pros and cons. To me, they're two completely different machines. This is why. Number one, the DDJ1000, not the 1000. Sorry.
Try again.
I'm thinking the SB3. SB3 is a USB only with RCA outs only. The DDJ is much smaller. I don't know.
I think the DDJ 1000 is almost the same size as the 7000.
No, it's smaller.
Really?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
Give me a sec. I'll bring it up and we'll quote, because I actually did a video on it. If you want to go look at my video, then you can go look at my video.
Yeah. Well, you.
If I can make it here. I'm just trying to bring up the picture right now.
Yeah.
Because I do so many stories and articles and stuff on this that half the time I don't remember what stuff is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It is smaller. I'm going to go to the website. We'll share that. The new one that just came out, we're going to talk about that too, the SB3. It is 4-channel. It does have the LCD screens in the center. It's designed to kind of run with Record Box, but it's going to run with everything soon. I can't get to the next one. I want to see the back. So I'm seeing on the back, I'm seeing 1/4-inch mic ins, RCA outs. I don't know. I can't get the picture to see if the back. Yeah, the 7000 has dedicated volume control for the sampler. The 7000 has, I'm not saying the 1000 isn't any good. The 1000's great. It's a great, Pioneer puts out great stuff, but you kind of have to look at a certain point. What do you want or need from the controller? Yeah. So if multiple mic hookups are something you need, you have to think about that. I'm trying to get a picture of the back of it here to see. There it is. It has XLR outs and 1/4-inch outs for the booth, RCA outs. This has XLR outs for both the for both the main and the booth, and 2 mic outputs with individual controls on both mics. So there are things like that. Certain effects banks, if that's something you feel you need. One's going to have more than the other. A lot of it, I'm going to be honest with you, comes down to which do you like? I mean, because you have to look at what you need and what you like. Because I know people that could put the two together that are identical and just go, I just like the feel of the other one better. Yeah. And that can be all there is to it. Because I know, like, you look at the CDJ line. I have friends of mine that only like one of the CDJs, like the 1000, and don't like the feel of any other one. So anytime somebody puts one up for sale, they'll buy them so that if one of them breaks, and that's all they want to use because they like that feel.
Well,
so
I guess probably the biggest thing that I'm as I'm looking at the 1000 and the 7000, microphone capabilities. One thing that I do like on the 1000 is that quarter-inch jack is labeled that mic in is a balanced in, and the booth out quarter-inch, but they're balanced out, which is something that most of the time you're guessing, and sometimes you guess right, sometimes you guess wrong. Second big thing that is, well, there's a few differences. The inside of the jog wheel has data. That's on a 7000. Right. The layout, you were just talking about this layout where the play buttons are on the left.
Yeah, all Pioneers are done that way. They're the only brand left that does it that way. So that's if my friend Pat and I were just talking about this before we come on the air, that we both can't stand that, but the next generation wouldn't even know the difference, which is fine.
And I would think for somebody who's looking for that, that would be probably, between the two controllers, that would be the biggest deal maker or breaker.
If I didn't get a deal because of being a Den DJ on this 7000, you would see a Pioneer in front of me right now simply because of the fact of the way they move. I was this close to buying a Pioneer until they come out with this. Yeah. So what I'm waiting till next year is that I really think by the Expo of 18, both Pioneer and Denon are going to come out with a slightly smaller version of the 8000 that runs strictly on its own, to where you literally like the Denon 5000s where you don't even need a computer, you just pop the thumb drives in. That's what I think the next one's going to be.
Or you're waiting for the WeGo 5 to come out.
No.
Yeah, that would be so awesome.
So again, it's hard to tell preferences. Again, you have to look at what you're doing with it. As a scratch DJ and someone who likes to mix, I like lots of room. So that's one of my biggest things to look at is how much room do I have to work with? How many buttons can I reprogram? Because I'm telling you, probably 10 or 15 buttons on this thing alone, I've reprogrammed for my purpose. So I like having the extra buttons.
Oh, yeah.
So I hope that did it. I don't know. I mean, that's a lot of blabbing about nothing. I really don't know what to tell you.
See, DJ Cox there mentions that made the statement there towards the end of the second sentence there. I wanted to get away from hauling another mixer. This is an interesting thing because I was thinking that the idea of hauling, I've got my 7000, that's my mobile, and I was happy with that. And then Ben Stowe crushed my little world by telling me that the microphone preamps in the controllers suck.
That suck?
They are not to the level of what this mixer is, or any basically more of a production mixer. They're okay. They're not great.
I will challenge that to. I'll put my voice on any device, and one of them isn't going to make it sound a whole lot better to where anybody but Ben Stowe would notice. I'm not saying that the quality of it is. I can guarantee you, there's more money, more technology in the stuff he's talking about, but. This is good enough to where no one's going to notice if you tune it right with the right mic for your voice. You can't just walk up to a microphone, just like I talk about the songs. You just can't download a song and expect it to be the right version. You have to tune it for you. If you look at mine on nights, depending on where I'm at, where I was at Saturday night, that little place, I had to back the bass so far off my voice where normally I don't have to. I keep it like dead middle. But that system was crazy the other direction. So you kind of have to fit it. And I don't run mixer on anything ever. Everything runs from this. And that's why to the future, it's even going to be with virtual. We're hearing talk about them doing light controls, just like this, the switch and all that. You're not going to need to leave this world of computer and controller. So, I mean, I run extra stuff into this. I run, an MP3 player into it. So if something dies, this is a standalone mixer. I can just pop that on and go while I reboot everything. So I don't go that route. Never have. Everything runs off of this. Sub runs a direction, everything. So that's just my opinion.
So what I did to test that theory, I haven't done a video on this because I wanted to test this. So I've got my Yamaha mixer down here that we're using for the shows and such. And then I ran that NS62. So I ran the Shure 58 into that, and then ran that into a channel on the board that had no EQing, and then recorded my audio, and then tried to match the volume level with the 58 going just into one of the channels here. And you could definitely hear a difference in the tonality.
Again, the 6,000 isn't a good measure.
No, that would have been the NS6 2. So
the NS6, I'm saying. Try it. I would challenge you to try it with the 6,000. I would try you to try it with your 8,000.
Yeah, and I didn't bring one of those in because
I bet you both of those are going to be higher than the 6, because you have to look at that NS6. You have to look at that new one by Pioneer that we're going to talk about in a minute, the SB3, are considered entry-level controllers. They are not considered professional controllers. They do not have the components of a professional controller. If you want those, you have to step up to like the 7,000 or the 6,000 or the Pioneer, the SX versions or the SZ versions. Those are the pro level stuff. So the smaller ones, you're paying less. You are not getting the same quality in them. Sure. But if you go to a professional level and try that same mic challenge, I bet you'd be darn close.
Yeah, and I didn't go that. That was like, okay, that's my next step. Yeah, and as Paul mentions, there is a big difference between the 6,000 and the MK2 version of the 6,000. I didn't think there would be such a big difference. And the guys from Denon were like, oh, yeah, we used a lot of the technology that we brought in. Where did they bring that? Did they say they brought in some of the Newmark technology into that?
It was about the time they bought Newmark out.
Yeah. It must have been something that they brought in from the NS7 or something, or NS7 version. I don't remember.
You understand that same company owns Akai and all them, and those are all some severely more high-level stuff they have, so they can take a single component and swap it out and make the difference.
Do a lot of things with it, yeah. So that's a future test, and when I get to that point where I'm actually doing the 7,000, something that I've used more frequently, I'm actually going to record that one, but the NS62, it was nearing the end of its testing cycle, so it's didn't do much more with that.
That's my opinion on it, but I just think it's simpler. I don't know.
Oh, it's simple, and for most of the events, I would probably continue to do that. But where I'm starting to question it is for a wedding, where I need to have multiple microphones, and I need to have the ability to have more gain on some of the microphones. That's the problem I'm having with.
Yeah. My friend Pat runs an external Behringer, one of the kinds that have the plugs that go in the top.
Yeah. One
of those. That's what he runs at the wedding so that he's able to do that.
Yeah. And to have a board at the the 7,000, I love it, but because of the tray, I can't see or touch the microphone controls virtually at all because they're way up high and they're in the corners. So it's like, okay, now how do I deal with this? And there have been times where I find myself over adjusting the gain on the front of the microphone receiver because it's easier to reach than to push the tray back and try to get,
It's right there.
Yeah, way up there. And
I don't think it's that far out. I mean, because I'm dealing with these knobs every single song. So I'm searching and loading all night long. And then my search and then my different folders like that. So I'm always here and it's fine. But my mic is usually just one pop on, one pop off, and then if I'm running, I have to do the post mode there so that the mic goes through the booth. If I'm running subs or second set of speakers, or running one set through the main and then my set through a separate, and you'll set that post. But I don't have a problem with it. But it's each and every person. Again, that's exactly what we talked about, as being that you kind of have to find what you need.
And in my case, I need to have that laptop just a little bit closer because otherwise I have to get a different pair of glasses once again because of that distance. And I've got to be a little closer or a little farther.
Yeah. See, again, we're talking about the mics, like Cox was saying about multiple mics for a wedding. You have to look at what you're doing. I'm doing stuff in the bars and clubs. I literally Saturday night, it was a new place I'd never been to, and I asked the manager, "Need me to do any announcements, about specials or anything like that?" He's like, "No, just play music." Yep. So they're the same place I'm going to be this Saturday, a different place than last Saturday. This place does not allow you to talk. Your job is to mix the music and make the people dance. So for a lot of us, mics are not even a part of our job. Mm-hmm. So again, you figure out what you need.
For sure.
To make it work. That's one of the things I like about technology. There's so many different options for you now.
Chris has got an NS7 III and is getting into it with virtual DJ and is looking for tips to really up the game on that. boy, there's numerous videos out on the DJNTV. The DJNTV. Let me see if I can find the link for that. Because we have a lot of. I've kind of put the videos where we've done where it's been kind of music performance related. I put those all on a page, so that would make it easier to find. So I'm going to dig that link up, and I can share that here in just a moment.
NS7 is one of my favorite controllers. If it was slightly lighter, that's what I would own, just because I love the motorized platters, but I have friends who can't stand the motorized platters. So I'm not sure what you mean by upping your game, like as in MIDI mapping. Is that what you mean, or tricks? I mean, there's a lot with that, especially with that dashboard screen that they come with.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a crazy thing in itself. How now that is its own device that can be added to anything. So,
and then you can beat people with it too. I mean, it's that big.
That's heavy enough to defend you if someone attacks. That's for sure.
There is value to that. Okay, come on,
if you, I'm still looking to see if people are typing here for questions. I'm not sure here. Going back to the top.
Let's see if they're under the mute.
The questions. Feel free to jump something in there if anybody has any. Even if it's a stupid question, it doesn't matter. I don't know. Do you like the open? I'm going to ask you. Do you like the open question format, or do you rather just see a show about something like what right click can do, or how to mix, or which we're going to continue to have those? But I mean, or also I'm going to take this break right here. So while you're adding that in there,
I can't
NS7 can be used as a bulletproof shield. Absolutely. If you've ever picked one of those up, I saw a guy the other day that it was during the Serato giveaway. I mean, the Serato release, when they did the Serato release from Serato, they gave away 7,000 and something else as part of their prizes. And the guy picked up 7,000. He's like, wow, this is really heavy. And I'm thinking, what are you using the 7,000 15-pound controllers heavy? You know, the NS7's double that. Love it, but it is literally double the weight. User error question I asked earlier. I'm not sure what that is. How good it's run the subwoofer from the booth controls? I run the subwoofer from booth controls. The club I'm at this coming Saturday runs the mixer that they have in there. They're running it off of the booth also, or there's another out. They're running the sub on its own separate thing. So I know lots of people that do it. I know lots of people that say it sounds terrible. So, you know, the same way that I can't stand some of the Bose speakers where other people say they're the best sounding speaker. So you kind of have to go with what you want. I like it because I'm able to right here have a control right dead center of that sub. So if I'm like Saturday night's perfect example, their system was really, I mean, it was on edge. I had to back off everything because their system couldn't take it. And I dropped maybe a remix or a redrum that had a lot of bass in it. I had to back that bass off for that one single song because their system couldn't handle it. So to be able to have a direct control there for the sub, if you need to pull it up or down, that's the main purpose people do it. No other reason. It's not a fork because it's better or worse.
Howie was saying that with Serato Pro, he's got a clean computer, no problems with it at all. He's wondering if a lot of these problems that people are reporting are user error by doing something wrong. That's what he's referring to.
Say that again?
Howie was saying that he hasn't had any problem with Serato Pro, but he installed it on a clean computer and is keeping it a clean computer. That many of the issues people are reporting are because of user error. They're not handling it right. They're installing it on a computer that's on the internet and da-da-da-da-da. So he's wondering if that user error is probably the biggest culprit when it comes to...
There's a lot of people who... Because I see people in the virtual thing ask questions. It's like, oh my gosh, do you not even know how to press play? Because there's a lot there that, you know, the old thing that's, you know, is it PC compatible? Is it Mac compatible? Or sometimes it's you're the thing that's not compatible with the computer. So a quick thing I'm going to hit there. We can come back to this, but the guy's talking about mic through. Keep in mind that some of the upper set controllers, like the 7000 and a few others, that mic hookup is completely hardware controlled. It does not go through the program whatsoever. So none of your mic on some of the higher end controllers like this go through the program. It is hardware as if it's a hardware mixer. So you're plugging a mic into a thing as if it's a mixer. So that's a thought there. We talk about gain structure.
That's a Ben Stowe topic where he's really gotten into it.
Again, for me, because like I said, everything's simplified with this. I put the virtual on auto gain and remember, and it does all the work. I never touch anything. I just DJ. Don't have to worry about it unless I'm on a crappy system like Saturday night to where I have to watch the peaks on everything, because it's just like mine was throwing a lot of heat towards their speakers, and I couldn't believe how I had to back off so much on it. It was bad. But I'm not the only one, because I talked to a friend of mine who was there a couple of weeks ago, and he said the same thing. He's like, yeah, their system's off. How often do you use DJ drops on weddings or clubs? It used to be a big thing in the clubs. Right now, you almost get laughed at if you use them, but I think people do here and there. But it used to be a big thing. I couldn't even tell you last time I threw. I do know I'll throw them in as stupid stuff. With that kickboxing class I DJ, I'll do them in there just to be silly. Sometimes if someone's saying a name, I'll do something like throw mine over top of theirs or something. If the instructor's saying something, but not for coolness factor or anything. I couldn't tell you last time I actually used it.
The J-Funk there mentioning that the MC7000 comes in hot. I've heard other people make comment that they've had problems adjusting to the mic input on the 7000.
It's touchy. Yeah. You have to be careful, and you have to be on it.
Yeah, it definitely was a different setup in my gain structure on my wireless microphone than it was with even running it, into the board, the Mackie.
Plus, I run an older Yamaha. I run a straight line mic in mine most of the time, so that's part of it that changes that. And that my wireless is an older Shure, so I may not be the best example. If you're using a digital Shure, then it's going to be a little bit different for you.
How do you know if you have a corrupt file in? I would assume Virtual DJ.
It'll say not playable. If it's not playable, then it would have to be the file corrupt, not the file format, because Virtual plays every format. So basically, if it doesn't play or if it gives you problems, I would replace that. Because I've had ones before where it was the video. It happened recently. The video that I downloaded for Katy Perry's "Chain to the Rhythm," and it was glitching. And I'm like, "Oh, get this thing out of here!" and replaced it the next week. So I don't know whether it was something happened in the download process that got screwed up, or the file itself from the original was screwed up, but it went quick. I was like, bye-bye.
Yeah, every once in a while I'll find one of those early rips when ripping was very inconsistent, and it's like...
Yeah. I still have a version in here from the days of ripping CDs of Spice Girls Wannabe, where there was a blip in the MP3 on the CD, and when I ripped it, the blip stayed there. It hiccuped. And I kept it in here just as a thing, because I years ago DJ'd at this place, and there was a girl I was dating, and she knew that I had that, and I would play it just to because she's like, why don't you just replace that? I'm like, I don't know, it irritates you. That's why I play it.
Holy cats, our time is up here. We are going to be... let's see. With Mobile Beat next week, there's a couple of small new things that will be shown, but one cool thing that Ben was talking about last night is that there's going to be more hands-on opportunity for the Roland products, the 808 and the 505 and the 202. Well, how would you put them if you were going to put a hierarchy? Where would that 808 fall into? Because we talked...
Yeah, we talked. 8 is professional level, the 505 and the 202. 202 is definitely beginner level. It's a $250 controller. Minimal stuff. You can still do a lot of the stuff that you can do on the 8, but they're layered buttons. It's like the 8, you would hit a button to trigger something or do something, but the 202, because there's less buttons, you might have to do shift in that to get to it. So a lot of stuff is there, but it's layered. Same thing when it comes to mics and stuff. You go to the 505 and the 202, you're not going to have the mic hookups or the quality of the stuff. You're not going to have a lot of different things like that. So that's where you get into that. Like, you have to figure out what you need. Because I know guys that can work off a single little one and do everything good. But if you get a chance to grab a hold of them, the only thing that I find bad about them is they put a really tiny, tiny platter on them. And I don't like that. No other reason. And some guys like that. So
Yeah, depends what they're using it for. I think we're back to that option.
And the new controller, I'm going to hit on that real quick. For those of you who don't know, Pioneer just came out with the new controller 1000, not the 1000 SB3, that it was put out by Jazzy Jeff. He put some input into it, and they have like your different hotkey buttons there have multiple functions, and one of the new functions they're adding, well, actually two of them. One does auto scratching, so you have to go look at my video on Disc Jockey News, and it shows the auto scratch, and so you can do scratching without that, which I don't like, but it's there. But there's also the SB2 had a auto mix function that used filters and stuff with a single button. The SB3 now has 8 different ones, so you can have 8 different types of transition mixes. Manual, but give you different effects, make it sound different as you're doing the transition, also automated.
Sure.
So with all these things added, I better never hear anybody complain about the sync button again. So if you're complaining about the sync button and there's an auto scratch button, your priorities are a little off. But that's the future. As much as I hate seeing that, because I'm a person who does all that, I like doing that. You can't. This is just the way it's going to go.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but it's there to stay.
Mm-hmm.
That's all there is to it. So it's good. Check it out. Check out my videos on Disc Jockey News. They're awesome. They're there. Also on Serato and all that kind of stuff like that. So anything else? I'm still doing the class on Wednesday night. I have a class after the show. So if you're interested in taking one of my classes, hit me up either on Facebook message or something like that, and we'll talk.
Good. Wonderful. We're going to wrap things up because Jeremy and Dave are getting ready to jump on here, and they'll be on in about 10 minutes. You can go out to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/discjockeynews, and you'll see the live player in just a couple of minutes. Thank you guys for being with us tonight. And now we can click.
Tonight's DJNTV show is sponsored in part by Electro Voice, DJ Event Planner, ADJ, NLFX Professional, Promo Only, Newmark, and DJNTV Insiders.